Hello there. This is the latest edition of the King Street Stories. Justice delayed, suicide of a killer, the arts festival, and headship shops in the center of town. It's been a disturbing week on King Street. The mayor's legal case of official misconduct got postponed again from July 24th to August 14th in Judge Morandi's court in the town of Ogden. As one person remarked, justice delayed is justice denied. The reasons that Judge Morandi continued the case were not announced, but the village of Brockport did hire two attorneys, Frank Alloy and Robert Lund, to represent the village's interests in this matter, and they have been called quote-unquote special prosecutors. Mayor Castaneda has three legal cases going at the same time. The official misconduct, which are criminal charges, her code violations, which are a civil matter, and her claim that she may sue the village because of this whole affair. The village spent $5,000 to retain these attorneys, so all the penny pinching which the mayor has grandstanded on repeatedly is out the window as a result of her actions. The incongruities of human behavior never cease to astound and entertain, especially from the perspective of King Street. The Markham family has experienced new episodes of gut-wrenching grief when it was learned that the man who killed Bridget and Ryan Markham in 1993 in a drunk driving crash has committed suicide back in the Niagara County Jail on January 23, 2012, when he was being transferred from the county jail to a state prison for a 15-year sentence on a rape charge. For a couple of days, there was a question of whether this was the same Harold Case who killed the Markham children, and then this email came from a person who works for the Niagara County DA. Ma'am, did I say the system stinks yet? Can I say it again? It is indeed the same Harold G. Case, date of birth 9/4/61. I have the rape file in front of me and I'm staring in disbelief at his rap sheet. It lists several DWIs, including the one in Ogden, Monroe County in March 1993. But there is nothing in his rap sheet to indicate the deaths of your siblings. We had him for a DWI here in Heartland Town Court in 2005 and made him plead guilty, no plea bargain, because of his priors, but did not know of the fatalities. Had we would have tried to screw him as much as possible, 1 year local. As it was, he got a fine and license revocation. I know a bit about his rape case and suicide. I hope it will not offend you, but I will be frank. I believe he is in hell where he belongs. The rape case was a brutal marital rape, but piece of crap that he was, he thought little to nothing would happen to him, so he pled guilty. He assumed the judge, a man, shared his warped views of marriage. Unfortunately for him, the judge is the former DA and had been one of the first DAs to aggressively prosecute domestic violence. The judge whacked him with the max of 15 years. Case was devastated and meticulously planned as suicide. I know it is not very Christian of me, but if any of you care to know, you can rest assured that Case died miserably, and the rumor was that the other inmates mocked him afterwards by displaying signs with numbers as if they were judging a diving competition. All perhaps a small measure of justice for the hell he unleashed on earth. Please do not hesitate to contact me or have other family members do so, or even call with anything further. I am involved with the Victim Impact Panel in Niagara County, where people who have been injured by or had loved ones killed by drunk drivers speak to convicted drunk drivers. One woman who lost her 14-year-old son right in front of her house says that when her son's killer died several years later from cancer, she felt a sense of relief that he would no longer hurt her or her other children anymore, and a sense of relief that the source of such crushing sorrow was gone from the earth. I hope that this information does, at long last, bring some similar relief for your family. One of Angela and David Markham's daughter wrote this on hearing the news. I honestly don't know how I feel about it. I never wished the guy dead. Like you, I had hoped that killing 2 children would have prompted him to turn his life around. Early on, I had hoped that he might hunt us down and offer an apology, as if we all live in a Lifetime movie, a notion that felt increasingly naive and silly to me as the years wore on. Instead, he became a rapist and then a suicide. What a miserable, dark life it must have been, shot through with ignorance, addiction, misery, and tragedy. Although I say I don't know how I feel about it, and this is true, when I called the jail, I had planned to be all professional and businesslike, but it took about 5 seconds for me to begin bawling uncontrollably while desperately telling myself, get a grip, get a grip, get a grip. And I'm at work making this call with snot running down my face and shoulders heaving. Nice. Thank God my office mate was at lunch. So suffice it to say that the news definitely called forth a shitload of emotion for reasons I can't really articulate either. And so after almost 20 years, there is once again enormous grief reawakened on King Street, Monroe Avenue, Student Lane, in Hilton, Brighton, Batesville, Indiana, Pasadena, California, and Richmond, Virginia, for the loss of 2 children when they were 5 and 8, and who would be 25 and 28 today if still living. This whole episode got started when Maureen, Bridget and Ryan's older sister, and an occupant in the car in which they were both killed when struck by the drunk Harold Case, was investigating the death of a Fairport teacher, Heather Boyum, recently run over and killed while riding her bicycle by a 23-year-old unlicensed drunk driver. The carnage on our highways continues in the United States of about 11,000 deaths per year, and about 500 in New York State. The grief in the Markham family this week has led to David Markham, the father of Bridget and Ryan, being vocal about the 420 Emporium, a head shop, being on Market Street, right in the heart of the Village of Brockport Business District. With the presence of the CNS, Barbers, Rocco's, and other bars, it will not be long before the college students will be returning and the drunken late-night carousing will begin once again, especially on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights in the Brockport streets of the old village. There is money in it for the proprietors of these establishments and the landlords of these stores and shops to be catering to the demand for their products. It is ironic that King Street, once a quiet residential street, is now ground zero for intoxicated, disorderly behavior fueled deliberately by businesses which provide products which make it all possible. Let's hope that no further deaths, injury, and property destruction occur. Amidst the grief, the Brockport Arts Festival will be returning to Main Street this coming week on August 11th and 12th. The annual Duck Derby will take place in the canal again on Sunday. Shopping is a way to get one's mind off one's problems, and as President W. told us, it is the democratic duty of every patriot when faced with terrorism, whether external or domestic. So carpe diem, comrades. One of the local shop owners asked if the village won't eventually be dissolved, and when told no, never, appeared very disappointed. His son has been buying up real estate in the village and was recently denied the conversion of a single-family house into a multi-occupancy residence, which has Papa pissed off, and even though the village has been very good to him and his family, apparently wants it dissolved so his son can enlarge his rental empire as the Websters and Giancurcios have done. It is interesting how these entrepreneurs view the village as nothing more than an asset which they can mine for profit. They seem to forget that people live here, love here, have relationships here, and an affection for the place. When this interferes with the ability to make a quick buck, some profiteers are frustrated. That's the way it's been this week on King Street, where the men are grieving the loss of so many things. The women, like the biblical Rachel, are wailing for their children, and the children are somber because the adults are upset and are waiting for the arts festival to distract them and cheer them up.